What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Focused Free Fit. And we've got a great guest today. I'm excited to have the conversation, Mr. Chris Terzakos. And I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about himself, but he is a self-healing coach. He's got a pretty unique background. We'll get into all that. But Mr. Chris, welcome, man. Good to have you on.
Okay, good. Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I like when I have somebody with bigger muscles than me on the podcast, man. This is good.
Yeah, not bad for 65 years old too, right?
Not bad, man. I'm impressed. Hey, that gives me, I get excited and it gives me a lot of hope because if I look that good at that age, I'm set. So
yeah, that's awesome.
I want to get into it, man. I'm excited to have some of these conversations.
Okay, great. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. So why don't you tell us, as we do every time on this show, tell us a little bit about your early years, where you grew up, family life, and what that was like, and let's go from there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, I'm born and raised in New York City. I grew up in a tough neighborhood. You got to be a stand-up guy in the neighborhood that I come from. You don't need to be a tough guy. You just need to be a stand-up guy. Always tell the truth, never betray your friends. Always, be good to the girls that you grew up with, because the reputation's spread like wildfire. So I grew up in a single family house. My mother worked 2 jobs. I got a brother and a sister. Today, my older sister passed away. We'll get to that later. So growing up in the streets, I played baseball. I was like, MVP of the year. I was scouted by the Cincinnati Reds. I believe the Atlanta Braves also came down to take a look at me. Didn't happen. I didn't make it to the professional level. So I went right into construction. So construction was most part of my life. I started as a carpenter. 5 years later, I became the supervisor of the company, and I was in a leadership position by the age of 27. I was already leading people, and I was actually, when you're a leader, you kind of mentor them also, because they come to you with their problems, and you give them the best advice that you can. So so I was a leader. I went through some adversities in the early age. I didn't get along too good with my mother's husband. So my father came and got me at the age of, I believe I was just before 16 years old. My father came to get me, and I went downtown Manhattan. And I lived in an apartment all by myself at 16 years old. My father lived uptown, and I'll get to that also. And so here I am, 16 years old, my own apartment in Manhattan. It was my grandmother's apartment, actually. When she passed away, my father kept the apartment. So, yeah. And I was going to school, daily. And then school wasn't my thing. In the school that I went to, it was down Delancey Street, if anybody knows Delancey Street, Manhattan. When you went to school, you didn't learn in that school I went to. You didn't learn. Mm-hmm. The name of the school was called, forget the name of the school. I don't want to badmouth them, but you didn't learn. You got into a fight every day. There was always activity going on in classrooms, people being sent to the deans, a lot of crazy shit. So I told my dad, I said, Dad, I can't go to the school anymore. And I explained to him why. He goes, all right, I'll sign you out of school, but you better get a job. And that's when I went into construction. And I spent all my years in construction. I'm still in construction. I'm semi-retired. I'm the owner's rep of a general contractor in New York City, a good friend of mine. And I still attend all the meetings, all the Zoom calls. And and now today I'm also a coach. I coach people in nutrition. I coach people in fitness. I'm in great shape. As you can see, I wrote a book, How to Increase Testosterone. That picture was taken 8 months ago. There's no photo shooting. I know a lot of people ask, hey, did you get Photoshop? That's a natural picture, because that's hard work and dedication to get to that level. So that's
Absolutely.
that's my story from growing up as a young guy.
That's an interesting story. So, curious. So your dad came and got you,
Yeah.
and you weren't getting along with who she was dating.
Yeah.
And why did your dad put you in that apartment by yourself instead of living with you? I'm just curious because I feel like at that age, that's a pretty big deal. Like if I was at 15 in my own place in Manhattan, I don't know that I'd be alive right now.
Right. You know what? You're right.
So
You're actually.
I mean, that's a pretty big deal to just stick you in a place by yourself in Manhattan.
All right. So yeah, good question. My dad, and here's the big surprise. So that it was a Friday, and my dad sat me down. He introduced me to Charlie down the block, who was like a grocery store on one side and a butcher on the other. And he says, "You're gonna go here every Friday. I'm gonna come and pay Charlie, but you want meat, you want cold cuts, whatever you're eating, go here, charge it on the bill, and I'll pay it." I said, "Okay, Dad." I said, "Where you going?" This is how the story went. He goes, "Sit down." I sat down. He goes, "I live uptown." I said, "You live uptown? So I'm going to live here by myself?" He says, "Yeah. I'll come here every Friday. I'll check on you every day. We'll call each other." He said, "You have other brothers and sisters, from what you have with mom." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, I have another family." I said, "Oh." He goes, "But I want you to keep your mouth shut." I said, "All right. So who are they?" So he told me. So I have 5 brothers and sisters, half brothers and sisters from my father. With my father had another family with another lady. So
Wow.
yeah, and you know what? I got to tell you, it turned out to be good
Yeah.
because I'm still in touch with them every day. They still text me every day. Uh, my biological brother and sister, who's still here. Like I said earlier, my older sister passed away. She died running. We can get to that also. But I don't hear from my biological brother, and I don't hear from my biological sister. I don't hear from them. But I hear from all the half brothers and sisters. And I got to tell you, they are saturated with love.
Mm-hmm.
They unbelievably are saturated with love. And I appreciate that. And I give them the same love back and the respect.
Is there anything that's so interesting? And it's one of those things where you
Yeah.
hear that used to happen. I'm sure it's obviously it still happens today, but it was easier to do or take place back in the day when there wasn't social media and there wasn't all this stuff that would, you knew more than you knew then. That's really
Exactly.
interesting. So,
Exactly.
just out of curiosity, any reason why you're not in touch with your sibling, your other siblings that were with
Yeah.
your first mom, or no?
Yeah. Yeah. There's actually on my website. There's actually I think a 5-minute video.
Uh huh.
It's like a movie trailer from the book,
Okay.
"Belonging to Yourself." That's a memoir about my life.
Oh,
So there is a 5-minute video. It's a book trailer. And to answer your question, when you have one argument in my family, in my biological family, that's the last you'll ever hear from them.
interesting.
There's no, "I'm sorry." There's no, "I was out of line." "I crossed the boundaries." Whatever you want to say. I love
Yeah.
you. But one argument, it's over. You'll
Yeah.
never, ever see them again. And you won't even be in the same room with them because if you're invited to the same event, like, I'll go. But
Yeah.
they don't show up.
Yeah. That's interesting. So, I grew up in a family that was, my mom's 100% Italian. My dad's some other stuff and some Italian, but most of the family side that I hung out with was a lot of times Italian. And
Mm.
so a lot of that, I can relate to the, but it was never like you argue and then you didn't talk. It was just loud all the time. Right. So my question to you is, we'll get to what you do today eventually, but
Sure.
how did that affect you as you move through life? Because those are two really big things. One, well, first of all, I don't know what age there was a divorce, but clearly there was a separation or divorce. So there was that. Then there's the family where you have an argument and there is no repairing that. It's just done. Then after both of those things, you sit down with your dad and he tells you he has another family. So it doesn't seem like there wasn't love, because he cared about you, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's such a different experience than a lot of people go through. So how did it prepare you? Did it set you up emotionally differently? Was it tough to have relationships? Was it not? How did that affect you emotionally as you started to go through life with those three major experiences to start with?
Well, I'm always open, you
Yeah.
know, and being open, like whatever makes you happy, you know, like whoever you are. You know, if you're in the same room with me and you're telling me a story, or you got a plan ahead, whatever makes you happy. So, whatever made my mother happy, she wound up, you know, she married that man that I didn't get along with. Whatever made you happy, you know, I was like one of those guys. Whatever makes you happy, go for it. And my dad, you know, whatever made him happy.
Yeah.
You know, they my other half brothers and sisters, they're crazy about my dad. He's no longer here. He passed away, but they were crazy about him. I mean, loved him like unconditionally. I told you they're saturated with love.
Yeah.
And so anyway, to answer your question, I'm always been very forgiving. I always forgave. I was big on forgiveness. So if I had an argument with my brother, I would always forgive him. You know, even if I was right, I'd be like, listen, I'm sorry. I don't want to argue with you. You know, it's just bullshit. And then, you know, same thing with my other sister. My older sister, forget it. It was, her and I were like inseparable. You know, she was like my second mom. She used to put us to bed at night because my mom worked 2 jobs. You know, she was like my best friend, my mentor. I mean, she was into fitness. She died running as a marathon runner. She died running. So she loved. She died what she loved, and that was running. So yeah, I was always forgiving. I always wanted a relationship. That's why the name of the book is "Belonging to Yourself," because I wasn't belonging to me. I was belonging to them. Same thing with the company I worked for. With any groups that I was around, I was always looking to belong. And that comes from my childhood because, you know, we were single family, mother. She was hardly around working 2 jobs. I get it. She was tired. So I always was looking to stay with a group. And that's what I did. I got involved with unions in New York. Uh, all the members from all the unions I was involved with, the Teamsters, Carpenters Union, Laborers Union. You know, I love those guys. You know, like they were my brother. I loved them.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's the way my life was. So, and I always used to forgive people. You know, and I think forgiveness is your freedom today. If you can
I agree.
forgive, that's your freedom.
I agree. Otherwise, you keep it bottled up and it eats at you, and that just takes you down.
Well, that's it. Yeah, and if you're gonna live the rest of your life like hatred or resentful. Forget it. Just forgive it. And even if you never see them again, I forgive you. Boom. You know, there's an old saying: if God can forgive, so can you.
Fair enough. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So you get into construction.
Yeah.
And I've been in the position where you're a young guy and you're in a position to lead. So tell me about how that worked, because I found it difficult to earn that spot in the construction industry, actually. So in my 20s, I was in charge of large projects. So I'm just curious to know what you think was the key to being a good leader, especially at a young age, or what helped you, in your opinion.
Always, to be a good leader, always listen to the people that work for you, or always listen to those around you. Listen to their suggestions, listen to their opinions. Um, Never get hostile. Always keep your pause, and just listen to them. give them respect because that's what you want. You want respect. And that goes a long way. Just listening to someone because they want an ear, give them your ear. Listen to them. Sometimes they're right because as a leader, you don't know everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think you do, I would check that. You don't know everything. So don't say that you know everything unless you're a narcissist. You can't talk to a narcissist. They know everything. But in this case, being a leader, uh, you know, people would follow you. People would want to do what you do. People would want to look like you. I'm in fitness. That's my choice. If you drank 10 beers a night, they might want to drink 10 beers with you because you're their leader. That wasn't my choice. I'm not going to go and drink beer. I'm not going to go and do drugs. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to exercise. And I'm going to eat eggs and I'm going to eat healthy fats and I'm going to keep my regimen. And to this day, my friends always call me, "Hey, is it okay if I eat this? Okay if I eat that?" Because that's what a true leader did.
Mm-hmm.
You leave a legacy, on people's, minds. And they always think, "Oh, Chris wouldn't eat that, or Chris wouldn't do that. Chris would never say that. Chris would never act like that." And that's how you leave your legacy as a true leader.
Gotcha. I like it.
Yeah. Yep.
So after construction, you've been in construction most of your life, it sounds like, right?
I'm still in the business. I got so many deals going on right now, besides my coaching.
And is it residential, commercial? What kind of construction?
No, it's all big commercial work.
Okay.
Big
Gotcha.
projects. They range from I say from 8 million to like $100 million projects.
Gotcha.
Big stuff.
Okay. Interesting. And so tell me about, let's talk a little bit about the fitness area. So, this is lately, especially, right? I'm big into fitness and health. So
Okay.
this is a passion of mine. Let's start with diet. So today there's so much stuff out there, right? Yeah. Everybody's an expert. Here's what you should eat. Here's what you shouldn't eat. And especially now, especially even it's tying into politics, right? You got RFK Jr., who now is going to, start cleaning some stuff up, which, depending on what you believe, that's a good or bad thing. I think it's actually personally good. I've been talking about this stuff for a while. How far do you take it? I always find there's degrees, right? There's degrees of how far you want to go. You can be healthy, but you can be the extreme side of healthy or, and so talk to me about that a little bit. How do you start with people? I mean, are you telling them when you're coaching them, are you telling them, hey, let's cut out the sodas? Or is it, okay, let's grow our own food? Like, how far are we going here?
Well, food is your number one killer. Not cancer, not food. Food will kill you. So when you go to the supermarket, what do you look at? You look at all the pesticides, you look at all the preservatives, all the sugar, all the white flour. So these are the things that I first begin with. Don't drink water out of a plastic bottle. Don't eat anything that has preservatives. Try to stay organic. Organic strawberries, organic vegetables. I'm 100% organic. I eat grass-fed meat only. I don't buy meat with that poison in it. So that's where I begin.
Okay.
What are you putting in your body? Because whatever you're putting in your body, it could hurt you. So I take away the hurts. Now that I can work on that, then we can work on the fitness side.
Gotcha. So you're establishing a baseline with everybody saying, hey, here's where you got to start. So get all the bad stuff out, have only clean stuff coming in, and then we can start to sculpt. But you can't do any of that if you keep giving yourself garbage.
You're wasting your time. If you're going to go eat like a big ham and cheese sandwich, or what we call in New York, like a hero.
Yeah.
Guess what? Don't even go to the gym, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're wasting your time. You're just wasting your time. You're just wasting your time. You're going to eat a big bag of, Lay's potato chips. Guess what? Don't
It's
go to the
over.
gym, man.
Yeah.
If you're drinking Pepsi or Coca-Cola during the day, forget it. It's not going to work.
Yeah. What do you think I think that we're on the right path, staying on this nutrition piece. And I think some people, that's where I think we talk about degrees, right? There's people that would look at you and I agree with everything you said, by the way. I'm the same. I do the same stuff.
Right.
I have all my stuff, a lot of my stuff shipped to our house. I don't even go to the grocery store for half of it because I just won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It costs a lot of money, and it's varying degrees of discipline. I'm a pretty disciplined individual. Obviously you are.
Yeah.
There's people, and I think a lot of people are just like, they don't want to put the time in to study as much as we've studied, right? Like, not to drink out of the bottled water. They don't get it. Drink or eat organic. They don't want to either spend the money or don't want to take the time to understand why.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to not go to get a hero. They want the bread. They don't get what's the problem, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to take time for some of this stuff to trickle down. But again, there's varying degrees. So how do you overcome that with people? I mean, I guess that's just the people that decide to put attention into it will get the benefits, and the people that don't, it's a choice. I mean, do you get down? Is that where you come out at, or what's the deal with that?
You just got to be patient. You just got to be patient, and like everything else in life, take one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
When a baby's born, a baby crawls before it walks. So this is how you do the same thing. Now, let's talk about sugar for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
If you can stop all sugar for 3 days, you got it beat. No cookies, no sugar in your coffee, no false advertisement, protein bar loaded with sugar. If you can stop for 3 days, you won't have a sugar craving anymore. It's like smoking cigarettes. So cigarette smokers, you could stop for a week. I believe you don't crave nicotine. It's the same thing with sugar. So if you can stop sugar for 3 days, guess what, guys? You got it beat. Now you don't need sugar in your life. And when you think you need sugar, I gotta have sugar in my coffee. I can't drink coffee without sugar. Well, guess what? If you can't drink coffee without sugar, don't drink coffee. Drink water. Go drink water. So there you go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's a great point. What I find when I talk to people and we have the nutrition, because when I'm talking to my business coaching clients, we sometimes get off on that subject. I try and help people, and I'm interested to know your thoughts. I really think that I agree it starts with food, but I think a large portion of it is understanding, reading the ingredients. So when people come across food, because the problem is it's not even called sugar. It's called high fructose corn syrup or brown rice syrup or the 50,000 names of sugar, right?
Right.
So people don't know what they're not supposed to have. Yellow number 5, red number 50, whatever the stuff is.
Right.
So it's always something. And I always tell everybody it's got to have only a handful of ingredients. If it's, if you're eating something, it shouldn't have 50 ingredients. It shouldn't be a novel.
100%.
So, and I think that's probably part of it too. But the sugar part is true. And again, it comes down to a choice, I think, too, as well.
Right.
So
right.
if you had to rank like the top 5 things and you said, hey, here's the top 5 like most important things that would be like a foundation for you to live by, what would you say they are? I mean, I know I have some in my head, but I'm just curious to know if yours are the same as mine or
okay,
what you would say.
Yeah, good question. Organic fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Get off the pesticides.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Pesticides will, the hormone, it just throws the hormone imbalance off, and then it messes with your mind, with your brain. Stick to olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
Now, olive oil is very tricky, Frank, because when you look at the back of a bottle of olive oil, it better come from one country.
Mm-hmm.
If it comes from 6 different countries, put it back on the shelf, because you're not buying authentic olive oil. If it comes from Greece, Italy, Morocco, one country, Now you know you're buying the real deal.
Yeah. I think
Oh,
that's a good point. A lot of people don't know that.
yeah.
And then I also think, do you agree? I think there's also the conversation of cooking versus non-cooking.
What do you
Smoke
mean?
point. So like certain oils, once you heat them up, become toxic based on how, when they get hot. So like
Yeah.
olive oil is good in its natural state on a salad, but if you cook with it, it can turn rancid, and now it's bad for you that kind of a thing.
Right. Right. Well, I do cook, with olive oil. I don't use nothing else to cook with.
Okay.
So I'll put a little drizzle of olive oil just so whatever I'm cooking doesn't stick to the pan.
Yeah.
I also watch the pan that I eat out of. It's not Teflon.
Yep.
It's like a stone plant. But getting back to your food, I mentioned olive oil, avocados, awesome for your body, man. Organic, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Anything omega-3, wild caught salmon, supplements, eggs. Eat
Love
the
eggs.
Yeah, eat the eggs with the yolk. In my generation, they go, "Oh, don't eat the yolks. You're gonna die. Guess what? Eat the yolks. That's where your omega-3 is. You want that omega-3. You
Yeah.
need it. Body craves for it. Brazilian nuts, pumpkin seeds, great for your body. So when I say great for your body, I need to emphasize that anything that I consume, it benefits my body. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt my body. So whatever I take, I know it's going to help me.
Love it. I agree with that. All of that. I always, recently some things have come up to probably add to the list, but I don't know. You've got sunlight, you've got hydration, a lot of water, and I always have sleep on my list. I'm a big sleeper. I'm sure you agree with that, but
Yes.
but yeah, I think those are all great things. I think the food part, you're dead on.
Right.
And I think that's a good place for people to start.
Yeah, and sleep is like you said, and sleep is detrimental. You got to get good sleep, man.
Yeah.
By sleeping, when you sleep, you're resting the body because the body needs the rest. You're resting the mind because the mind needs the rest. And you're also producing two things. You're producing human growth hormone when you're sleeping, and you're producing testosterone. Okay, so yeah.
Talk to me about your thoughts on. I'm curious to know. I'm a big faster. Tell me about tell me what your thoughts are on fasting. I do it. I probably always do 16/8, but sometimes I'll do like 2 or 3 days in a row. What are your thoughts on that?
I love it. I love
Okay.
it. I do between 14 and 16.
Okay.
I go 14 hours some days 16.
Yeah.
But yeah,
me too.
100%. I'm for it. Fasting is another great thing for you. I do it all the time, every single day. When the first thing I put in my body every morning, I make a homemade aloe vera drink.
Really?
Yeah, I make it for the week. I make a big 1 gallon container. I make it myself. I go buy the aloe vera, chop it up, put it in a 1 gallon water jug. I put 2 leaves, shake it up in the water, and let it saturate into the water. So all the aloe, it drips into the water. Every morning after my fast, that's the first thing that goes in my body.
Interesting.
And I'll tell you why. The reason for drinking aloe vera, the benefits are detoxification, antioxidant, anti-aging, reduces inflammation, it protects the cells in the body, digestive health, vitamin C, and skin health. These are all the benefits of drinking homemade aloe vera. Now, you could go buy it, but guess what? Read the ingredients.
Yeah.
You're not going to drink the same thing I'm drinking, that's for sure.
That's something I learned a long time ago. I was fortunate enough to watch my Nana, who used to love to cook. And as I got older, I realized how there's a big problem in the United States, all over really, but the United States especially, only because people get through with work and they don't want to take the time to cook their own food. But it's like anything else, going to the horse's mouth. Like if you get the food yourself and then you cook it, you know what's in it. But if you go buy it, all bets are off the table. I'll never forget. I always give this example. You know, like you go to the store and you get an olive bar and you put the olives in the container and you take them home, like good olives.
Yeah.
My wife did that once, and she bought at the olive bar a container that was already scooped in there for her, and she brought it home. And I'm crazy about reading ingredients, so I just happened one day, because I love olives. I was eating them, and I looked at the ingredients list. I'm like, there's an ingredients list on here. That's interesting. So I looked at it, and it had canola oil in it.
Oh.
And I was so mad.
Yeah.
I almost flipped my lid, because there's no reason to put canola oil in it.
Yeah.
I don't get, I'm like, why are you, I got olive oil. It's olives with the oil in the container. Why are you adding canola oil?
Right. I would never go shopping back there again, Frank.
And it was a health store. It was a health food store, like nice high-end market.
Did you go make a scene there? Did you go there and say, hey, dude, what are you doing?
I didn't. I probably should. They'd probably think I was crazy. I don't care. But the funny part is that's where people get sabotaged. They go and they think they're doing the right thing. And that's how far you have to go anymore to protect your body. It's crazy.
Right. See, I would have walked in there. I would have walked in there and said, hey, yo, dude, listen, I love your store and everything, but you need to explain this. And I asked him, this is my life. And it was my wife. If I give it to my wife too, it's got canola oil.
The problem though?
What?
The problem is, Chris, is you and I are advocates, and we know what's bad about canola. But the guy at the store is like, what the heck are you talking about? He's in a fog. He doesn't know. He thinks, he's not going to say, oh my gosh, you're right, I made a big mistake. He's going to say, you're crazy, get out of the store. This guy is nuts. And everybody in the store is going to say the same thing, because they don't know canola oil is bad. They're like, what's wrong with you, man? I guarantee it.
Yeah, it's funny shit.
That's the problem. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody's living in a fog.
Yeah.
And we're the crazy people.
Yeah. It's going to take a long time for, you and I won't be around to see it.
Yeah.
But, it can happen maybe another 100 years. It's starting slowly,
Yeah.
I want to say I'm part of a movement. You're part of a movement, to bring health, into people's lives. But yeah, you and I won't see it, but maybe in 100 years, maybe they'll get it down pat and everything,
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got past nutrition. We could go down nutrition rabbit hole for a day.
Oh,
but if we pull up there on nutrition, let's talk a little fitness. So, you had I think one of your books actually focuses on testosterone.
Yeah.
And so my question is not so much, I think, and you can say whatever you want. Yeah. There's obviously some things people can do to really help themselves. I think I do a lot of body weight activity, right? It's outdoors. It's a lot of that kind of thing. Not so much lifting weights, even though that's really good for you. I know. I focus on protein, but I'm curious to know, as a male, because I have female advocates on as well. As a male, what are we talking about as we get older? Clearly our testosterone drops, and the same thing happens with females. Certain hormones drop. They need to, you start to supplement. Talk to me a little bit about that. I'm 48. You're older than I am. So what are the things that younger men need to worry about? Older men need to worry about? What are the things that change as we get older? And obviously muscle mass matters, and the protein you eat, that matters. So let's talk a little bit about those conversations.
Okay. So fitness. So I've been in fitness all my life. And the big mistake that I made in fitness, I'll tell you about the mistakes. I was in my early 50s, I was ego lifting. Going through midlife crisis, you just turned 50. I was doing a lot of different things, buying cars, I fixed my eyes, I got LASIK surgery, a lot of shit. So I started lifting heavier at the gym. And I don't recommend it. I'll tell you why. I'm not competing. I'm not going to go in a bodylifting show. I was bench pressing like a little less than 400 pounds.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of weight. And that's how I got my hernia. Because I was, being ridiculous, Yeah. So you need to exercise. You could use, I like what you do. I like body weight, pull-ups, push-ups, all that stuff that, You pick up your own body weight, but you need to lift. And I'll tell you why. You need to lift because lifting is going to do two things. It's going to build muscle and maintain the muscle, and it's going to increase testosterone. Your body will not increase testosterone if you're not lifting. Okay, so you have to lift. And, obviously the third thing would be you got to be on a lot of protein. So whatever your body weight is, so say you're 180 pounds, you should be consuming 180 grams of protein daily.
And that goes back to the problem I have with fasting, because it's very difficult to get that in if you skip a meal.
Well, after I mentioned after my fast, the first thing I drink is aloe vera. But when I'm ready to eat in the morning, my breakfast, it's everything high in protein.
Yeah.
I make sure to saturate my body, my muscles, my bones with protein. First thing in the morning, I load up on protein.
And how much should somebody be how much do you have to work out? Is it 45 minutes a day, 7 days a week? Is it, what's the amount you got to lift and work out?
Great question. I love questions like this. You don't need more than an hour. Anything more than an hour, now you're building cortisol. You're stressing out the body. Why would you stress out the body? I know about stressing out the body because I just told you in my early 50s, I was in the gym for 2-3 hours. I got no business in the gym 2-3 hours. For what? Now I go to the gym, my wife and I, we go together, no more than 1 hour, sometimes 50 minutes. It all depends on what we did that day. So you don't need more than that. An hour, and I would recommend nothing less than 4 days a week. You don't need 7 days a week. You need 2 days off. So the max would be 5 days. But if you could do it 4 days, you're good.
Good. That's kind of it's funny you say that. I just had a conversation with a buddy the other night at my son's school, and he said he's doing, we have this group we work out with. It's outside, calisthenics, that kind of stuff. He said he's doing that once a week, 3 days lifting, and then he takes 3 days off. And I think that's a good balance.
Right. I don't like taking 3 days off in a row.
Yeah, sure.
I don't like that. I'll break it up. So if I go, say, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday could be off, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday.
Yeah.
3 days off is a little too much for me. And I also know for my wife also, so if any females are listening, try to break it up. The most time off is 2 days. My wife and I, we don't like 3 days off. We don't like it.
So talk to me a little bit about, I'm interested to talk about supplementation. And I'm also interested to talk a little bit about protein for women. So I've heard different amounts. I feel like I had a lady on who was, she was like Miss World, Miss Universe, Miss all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
With the body, with the lifting. I feel bad because I can't remember her titles, but
right.
She said, I thought that women, same thing, 1 gram of protein, but I'm curious also about supplementation. Like I take creatine. Does that matter? Is it good? Is it necessary? So I'm just curious.
So the question's on creatine?
Creatine and any supplements that guys or girls should have.
Oh, okay. So the creatine is excellent if your body adapts to it.
Yeah.
Me, I don't take creatine.
Gotcha.
I don't do well on creatine.
Interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't make me feel good.
Huh.
But I eat grass-fed meat.
Yeah.
So I get my creatine naturally through the meat.
Gotcha.
I don't take a supplement of, powder or creatine. Yeah. I don't do that.
Gotcha.
So, I recommend that you either eat grass-fed meat for your creatine or go on a supplement if it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
For me, I know my wife also, we did creatine and we threw it in the garbage. She said, I can't eat this. I don't like the way it made me feel.
So interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And is there any supplements you think that like men versus women should have, or no, not so much, or don't really worry about it in general?
Yeah, well, for men, we should. I have a whole list. As a
I'm
matter of
sure.
fact, I got a whole thing sitting here. Um, the main supplements that a man should be on, before I'll say omega threes one,
Yeah.
but we should be on zinc.
Mm.
Okay, you can get zinc through food. Oysters are loaded with zinc, so yeah, I eat oysters once a week. I get natural zinc, but we should be on zinc. Pumpkin seeds, organic pumpkin seeds, high levels of zinc. So zinc is good for the testosterone, for the
Yeah.
production. We should be on DHEA. DHEA, you don't need it, 5 days a week or seven. Take it like twice a week. Take a
Yeah.
supplement, DHEA. At my age, I'm 65 years old. So, even at your age, you're going to be 50 soon. You should be on, check your DHEA levels. And if you're low, take twice a week, take a supplement, DHEA. B6, big. Be on B6. You're a man, get on some B6 supplements.
Mm.
We love B6. These are all things that increase testosterone. It maintains muscle mass. It's good for your bones. Tonkat Ali. Have you ever heard of it? Tonkat
No.
Ali?
No.
Oh, Tonkat Ali. Great supplement. It's on my website, actually. Tonkat Ali. It's all natural. It's plant based. You want to increase testosterone? Boom, right there. Tonkat Ali.
Never heard of it. Interesting.
100%. Here's another one. This is also great. High in amino acids. D-aspartic acid. You want to get on. This is like almost like taking steroids. This,
Huh.
and it's all natural. So
Interesting.
you want some really serious amino
Yeah,
acids?
sign me up for some steroids. Let's do it.
Well, there you go. D-aspartic acid.
Interesting.
Take it 5 days a week. By the way, all supplements I take 5 days a week. I don't take supplements 7 days a week. I always get a 2 day off.
Gotcha.
Okay. Vitamin D. You should be on vitamin D. If you can't get into the sunlight during the day, at least 30 minutes or 20 minutes in the sun, take a vitamin D. I live in Florida now, so I get sun every day.
Yeah.
So, but the days like yesterday, rain, I took a vitamin D 10,000 IU supplement because I'm 65. Younger guys, you want to go on 2,000 IUs, 5,000 IUs, you're good.
Yeah.
But don't take supplements 7 days a week. I don't recommend it.
Okay. Interesting. Good advice. Okay. So, any other, on fitness or health, any other, last minute thoughts, anything that, people should know that we didn't cover? I mean, we could go down, I could have this conversation all day.
Yeah, of
but,
course.
Anything that we didn't cover that you think we should talk? I mean, obviously you've got some books. I want to put links in the description, but is there anything that you think people should know about, and where can they find you? What's the best places? And
well, there's. Let me tell you one other thing about androgen receptors in your body. Androgen receptors, they have to be activated. In order for testosterone to work and function properly, those androgen receptors, they need to be activated. They need to be open because that's where the testosterone flows. Okay. When they go through the receptors, now you got all these cells in your body shooting out the testosterone to the brain, your prostate, to your muscles. So those androgen receptors, they have to be activated. Now, the next question somebody would ask, well, how do you activate them? Okay, so how do you activate them? Exercise. You got to lift weights. Weights will activate the receptors. A cup of coffee. You want to liven them up? Have a caffeine. 1 cup. You don't need 5 cups of coffee to activate. 1 cup of coffee. You'll activate them. Oysters. I mentioned oysters are great because they're high in zinc. Oysters will activate androgen receptors. Now, once you got these receptors up and going, you're good. Because now your blood is loaded with testosterone. It flows right through and it does its job. It knows what it needs to do. But if those androgen receptors, You can have 1,000 nanograms of testosterone, which is high,
Yeah.
but if those receptors are not activated, there's no use.
They're not receiving it.
Yeah, it's not receiving it. So there's no point.
Gotcha.
So remember, androgen receptors are very important to be activated in order for the blood to flow and everything works properly. Muscles, bones, the brain, prostate. Okay?
Interesting. No, that's good to know.
Okay, good.
That's really important, actually. If you don't do that, then it's all for nothing.
Right. There's actually a supplement, Frank. It's called L-continin.
I am familiar with that.
Okay, so you could do the research. This will activate your androgen receptors also. This is the only supplement that will activate those androgen receptors, is this one.
L-carnitine. Interesting.
L-carnitine, that's it.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. I didn't know that either.
Yes.
Okay. Good to know. So, if people want to find you, where could they find you? You know, where could they get your books? What are, you know, where would they come to if they had questions for you?
Okay, so my website is healingwarriors.com. I have a YouTube channel. I'm on YouTube. Just type in my name. I'll come up on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram. And all my content there. Supplements are on my website. They can reach me. There's phone numbers there. There's emails. If you want to contact me. I told you I self-heal on an inguinal hernia. If you got a hernia and you don't know what to do, you don't want to go under the knife, it's all there on my website.
Awesome. Thank you, my friend. It's been a good conversation.
Yeah. I say, like you said, we could be here for hours, right?
Oh my gosh. It's
Right.
it's really beneficial, and I'm really passionate about it. We might have to do this again so we can have some more conversation around the topic.
Right. We'll do a part 2.
Yeah, it might have to, for sure. Because there's a lot we could talk about, but this is awesome. So I appreciate it. And everybody, we'll put the links in the show notes. And if you have any questions, reach out to them. And that's it. I appreciate you being on. Thank you.
I appreciate you too. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. And we'll catch everybody on the next episode. Talk to you guys later. Bye, everybody.